Headline article, Canada. Get ready for this one. And I thought 300,000 plus the 200 or the 25,000 was bad enough. But if you think about it, I understand that there was in excess of 325,000 people that were brought to this country, immigrants and refugees. But most Canadians, the only number they ever remember hearing, predominantly from the mainstream media and the news pundits or propagandists, was 25,000 Syrian refugees. So their hearts were like, oh, but we're a country of 35 million and we only bring 25,000. Oh, we got to prove to be compassionate. But in reality, I've covered all this stuff in past videos, so I won't get too much into the 25,000. But in reality, here's the truth of the fact, and it will always be misconstrued or misrepresentative. That's what the media does. They have to give you the bad news, but they want to propagate it in a manner that you won't recognize it as bad news. You will think that something other, right? That's what propaganda is all about. It's not about giving you the truth. It's about twisting and distorting the narrative to help you feel better while they completely dictate, control, and manipulate your life. Canada's population tops 36 million as immigrants and refugees swell numbers. Increase in people living in the country in 2016, the largest since 1988. Statistics Canada says. Wait till we get down to the numbers, people, and you realize just how many people were brought into this country that you're now going to have to either take care of or compete with for all those jobs and occupations that don't even really exist. You think about if you were owner of a business and your business kept getting worse every year and you could barely afford to sustain the level of income or employees that you currently have, would it be, what good would it be to start bringing in more and more employees? You're just going to cause but that's the thing, governments don't think like a business because they think that they can continually plunder and steal and use future generations to pay for all this shit. Or they're under the pretense of thinking only as a central planner where if you bring more immigrants in, if you're a welfare caseworker, having more immigrants that'll have to come and use your service, it's a net win for you. It's a great benefit. But if you're the person on the other side of that equation, the taxpayer that has to pony up and pay for all this shit, it's a net negative, right? It's all about your subjective experience and where you stand, right? Which side of the coin you fall on. If you're a giver, or not really a giver, if you're someone who's going to be forced to provide, you're probably not happy about the numbers that I'm going to read out to you very shortly. But if you're one of the ones that get to benefit from all of that and not have to provide at all because you're the taker, hey, like I say, to those people, like, why would you not like this? I love it. Their subjective experience completely override and overrule mathematics, science, culture, long-standing cultural practices, right? Or just human behavior. Central planners are so far removed from reality that, yeah, that's why when you look out there and you constantly head scratching. Well, that's why they just don't understand. They're stars in a Saturday night movie, whereas you're someone that has to live in the reality in the world of reality TV. Take all the good and bad and everywhere in between. They get to have complete scripts made up for them where they can avoid all that bullshit if they want. A record number of immigrants and refugees arriving on Canadian shores helped push Canada's official population over 36 million as of July 1st, Statistics Canada says. The data agency says there were 437,815 more people living in Canada than there were on the same day a year earlier, bringing the official population to 36,296,425. So think about that number. 437,815. So pretty much 438,000 new Canadians here, like I said, to compete for the jobs, the housing, the entitlements or forced services that Canadians are forced to pay for. You now have close to 500,000 more that are here that are going to compete for the very, very same small share of the pie. Because the pie isn't growing, as we see, as we all know. The only part of the pie that's growing is the one where they print money. As the economy is actually properly, and it is, it's shrinking. The economy, the real economy is shrinking, but they keep bringing more and more and more people in, hoping that they will stimulate it. But in reality, they're not going to stimulate it because Canadians are getting to the point now. I've long surpassed that point where, yeah, I'm tired of this race to the bottom. The more and more people you bring in here that keep continually forcing me to race and compete with them because they come from countries that were not nearly as, advanced economically or socially. Yeah, I don't want to compete on that race to the bottom. And most Canadians are starting to realize that, yeah, they don't want to have anything to do with this race to the bottom either. So this is not going to work out very well for anybody other than central planners and the ones that want to propagate the system. In absolute terms, that's the biggest annual surge since 1988. In percentage terms, the population grew 1.2%. That's in one fucking year. 1 year. Oh, that piece of shit. What's his name there? Colum or whatever the fuck, that fucking immigration minister. Piece of shit. What's his name? I don't even really give a fuck, tell you the truth. But yeah, I'm sure he's pretty fucking happy about this because he's not the one that has to pay for it. He's a parasite himself. So it's like, if you're a parasite, you don't have anything against parasites, right? Duh. The increase is one of the largest increases since the baby boom in the 1950s, BMO economist Doug Porter said, although this recent increase is driven more by immigration. Indeed, the numbers show that some 320,932 immigrants arrived in Canada between the two Canada days. More than 30,000 Syrian refugees are included in that figure. I thought it was supposed to be 25. Whatever. As they are classified as permanent residents by Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada. The country had not received such a large number of immigrants in a single annual period since the early 1910s. During the settlement of Western Canada, Statistics Canada said in a release, the province still makes up the majority of the country's population. Two provinces still make up the majority of the country's population. Ontario at 13.9 million and Quebec at 8.3. So yeah, Socialism Central Canada, socialist motherfuckers, are trying to fucking use that premise to keep forcing the rest of Canada to pay for their fucking entitlements. That's really what it comes down to. And to me, it's most disgusting, despicable, and it's not that I have anything against any people from foreign countries, but yeah, I'm sorry and I feel bad for you people that come from these foreign countries, but yeah, your willingness to fucking fuck me over, and not intentionally, I'll acknowledge and realize that, yeah, it's not like these people are going to intentionally try to fuck me over, but when they come from war-torn or shithole countries, they're going to be a whole lot more subservient and willing to put up with a lot more shit than the naturalized citizens of Canada are. And that's really what it comes down to. I can't compete because it'd be like if my parents adopted a bunch of fucking, kids from war-torn countries, and those kids were so appreciative to have someone to adopt them instead of having to live in the streets and drinking out of the gutters. Now I'm going to have to, what? If my parents ask these kids to do all these things for free, either I have to do them for free as well, or my parents are going to look upon their adoptive children as being so much better, so much holier, so much nicer than me. But in reality, that's not the case. I've had to live in this world. These people come from this world. So when they come to this world that I live in, the fact that they don't even recognize what it's like to live in this world properly, don't expect me to fucking try to live how they should have to fucking come to be in my position. Although I wouldn't wish that on even my worst fucking enemies. But I'm the one that's going to be forced to try to fucking meet them down on their level. Well, fuck that shit. And I hope the rest of the Canadians, and it doesn't mean you're racist or fucking, isolationist or anti-immigrant or any of that bullshit. Listen, fuck all these central planners because they're only telling you that shit to hope that they can fucking force you to be so guilt-ridden that you won't acknowledge that, wait a minute, these are the central planners and all these fucks are the ones that keeps destroying my life, my incentives, my natural incentives, my ability to provide and be productive in this world. Stop letting them fucking use this bullshit narratives to trick your mind. Have the willingness. I don't give a fuck. Even if some people want to talk down to you for standing up for yourself, just do it. Have the courage. Have the conviction. Let them call you whatever fucking stupid bullshit names they are, but you make sure you look them dead in the eye and point out the fucking truths to why you are who you are and why you're against the kind of bullshit they're saying. And let them try to tell you that once you've actually presented your proper narrative. Once you've said to them what you've had to say, let them come back and tell you once again that you're a terrible person, right? Because you don't want to compete in this race to the bottom. Hold them to account. Look them in the eyes. Be strong. Don't let them fucking dictate the narrative. Show them that you have power, at least in the interim. Right now, until they have the ability, they don't have the ability to control your mind or your mouth. So at least while you have the power to control your own mind and your mouth, use that. Use that to your advantage and to the advantage of your family and your offspring and those who have been propagated in this geographical landmass and those who have to compete in this race to the bottom. Make sure you stand on their side. Make sure you show solidarity for your successive generations. The ones that are willing to stand up to the fucking central planners and control freaks and sociopaths in this country. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.